Today I've got a really cool video for you guys. I'm going to be comparing all of the 11Six24 new lineup. So this is the Power Series, the All-Court, and the Jelly Bean, which is their control variation. And each of those has three different shapes, being the Hybrid, the Vapor, the Elongated, which is the Hurache-X, and then the Widebody, which is the Pegasus. All really great paddles, but we're going to do a quick analysis today to see which we like, all for our first impressions. I'm going to do a long deep dive video on all of these once I've been playing with them for a couple months. But this is just going to be a quick overview with my partner Joey. We're going to kind of run through all the paddles and see what we like, see what we don't like, and give you our notes. So let's go. First impressions on the Hurache-X for the drive. Really, really good. I've been playing with the Alpha 1. It feels a lot more controlled. More dwell time on the face. You can get a lot more shape on the ball. The Alpha 1, I always felt like it was going to go out if I swang too much. This can have a pretty healthy swing and it still stays in. Really like the feel.
All right, the Hurache-X Power, really good. I don't think I missed a drive. Great spin for the Power too, great feel. Really comfortable, really smooth. Sorry, I'm out of breath after 20 balls, but overall, I love it. Like, it feels great, great size, great shape, and yeah, I loved it.
So now we're going to try out the Vapor Power Paddle. This is a shape I've never used before. This is the Hybrid. Really excited. This one's felt the best in my hand overall. This overall weighting, really, really good. So overall, I actually like the Vapor. I think for me, coming from the Elongated, you can see my sweet spot is really not where it should be. But overall, the feel of the paddle off the face, very controlled, yet power was there. I wouldn't say as powerful as the Hurache. So I think it would take some adjustment getting used to this new shape, but overall, really, really like the weighting of the Vapor.
All right, the Vapor Power, it was good, but I usually use the Hurache Power, so this is the first time I used this one, but I liked it. It wasn't as powerful, but it was smooth. But I got a lot of spin on the ball, and control was great too. I do like the size of it. I thought I got good power on it.
So now we're going to try out the Pegasus Power. So this is their wide body variation. I actually really liked the previous iteration of this, which was the Monarch. I played with the Kevlar version, the control one. Really liked it, but I always found it was a little bit lacking in power. So having the power variation of that wide body paddle should be interesting. So let's go and give it a try. So interestingly, out of the three, out of the Vapor, the Hurache-X, and the Pegasus, I actually like the Pegasus Power the best. And that's really weird for me to say coming from playing basically with just elongated paddles. But because the sweet spot in this is so big, you can really take advantage of that power core. And I didn't feel like with the other two, I was having, like, you could tell when it hits that power spot in the middle. With this, because the face is so wide, you can get that power pretty much anywhere. Like if you look at where the ball marks are, they're all right here. And because that sweet spot's so massive, you're basically getting a power shot every time, but really good feel off the face. You can kind of curve the ball as you want to, get a lot more shape onto it. Very, very impressed.
I actually, first time using this paddle, I loved it actually for power. Like, I think I was 19 for 20 on my drives, and it's crazy because I never used it before, but it was great. I don't know if I like the Pegasus Power better or the Hurache-X, but those are my top two for sure, and it was great. It just, like, it's the wide body, so like Riley said, you got the sweet spot that's so big, and it just, you know, you put a ball in there on a drive, it's going to be golden. And that's what I found. And it's very smooth swing. And yeah, I loved it.
So now we're going to have a look at the All-Court. So this is kind of the middle of the range between the power and the control, i.e. the Jelly Bean. These ones actually feel really nice. Some of the weighting on the All-Courts feel a little bit nicer to me than the power ones. But let's hit with them and see how they go.
I loved it. That's all I could say. I loved it. I mean, it was so smooth. You got that great dip. Like some balls I thought were going to go long, but it landed right on the back line. And this is highly recommended paddle for sure. Like, it was just so controlled, so smooth. And every time I took a drive, it just felt so natural hitting the ball. Even if you're going cross court down the line, it's hard to miss your spot when you really connect to that sweet spot. Yeah, it's 10 out of 10.
Okay, that's actually kind of nuts. 20 for 20 shots, perfectly in. Didn't have to worry about over swinging, which with the power, I felt like it was slightly a concern. I really like the All-Court. Arguably, Like if I was to be recommending a paddle to, you know, a 3.5 to a 4.0, or even a 3.0 to a 4.0 that wants to have something that they can grow into, this is going to be a tough one to beat. We'll obviously try out the rest of the all-courts, but this Hurache-X is kind of like their old Hurache-X Control meets the Alpha 1 when they had a baby, and it's like a really, really well-balanced baby. Okay, so we're going to try out the Vapor All-Court now. Let's give it a try.
I think I'm running out of good words here. I mean, Vapor All-Court, see, I hit it all in the sweet spot. I think I was 19 for 20 in those drives, and the shot that surprised me the most was the cross-court dip. Like, I put so much side spin and top spin on it, and it was perfect. Right on the sideline, and it was just so smooth. It has the hybrid face, so everything about it was great. I mean, I swung, like, some of the times I would swing a little rough, I found, with the ball got caught on my feet, and the paddle just did the work at the end. It just dipped right over the net, kept the ball low, and yeah, it was a great paddle. Highly recommend.
Okay, Vapor All-Court again. These all-court paddles, they're going to be a hard one to beat. Really, really hard one to beat. 20 out of 20 shots, perfectly carved where I wanted them to be. Swing felt natural. Just feels kind of like a regular extension of your arm. The power, I find it had a little bit of adjustment, but I never have to worry about, again, over swinging with this. Great shape on the ball, great ball feel. You really get it where you wanted it to. Very impressed. Very, very, very impressed. All right, so now we have the Pegasus All-Court. After having liked the Pegasus Power so much, it will be very interesting to see what I think of the All-Court. So let's go and try it out.
Pegasus All-Court. I loved it. It was great. The wide body really helps, and so controlled, so much dip, swing, or smooth swing. And if I were to pick a favorite, I would probably say the Vapor All-Court, because I just found the dip and the control a little bit better, but all three were great. It's really hard to pick a favorite. Like, I would say the Vapor just by a bit, but this is a great paddle, and I think I was about 18 for 20 there, and yeah, it's great.
All right, this is getting really tough to figure out which of these is my favorite, because the Pegasus All-Court is fantastic. I mean, everything that I liked about the Monarch is still there. All the things that I didn't like about the Monarch before, which is now the Pegasus, has now been fixed. This paddle is going to be a big contender. Like, the sweet spot's so massive. The shape that you can get on the ball, like the dip that it has is incredible. Like, I never felt like I was over-swinging or under-swinging with it. If I had to get a shot that was slightly off-center, it was still really, really good. All-court, I mean, this is going to be a really tough one to beat this year. For the price, I can't say anything bad about it, really. It's incredible. All right, so now we're on to the Jelly Bean series, which is their control variations. We're going to start off with the Hurache-X Jelly Bean. Let's see how this goes.
I liked it. I mean, I think I'm getting a little tired, but my drives were good. They were smooth. I found maybe it's my swing, but yeah, I got to get the ball back to the deeper of the court. But I find that it dipped pretty good. So when it dips over, it kind of finds the middle of the court. But I said majority of them are in that sweet spot. But I liked it. Overall, it was smooth, and yeah, it was great.
So Hurache-X Jelly Bean, very interesting paddle. I really didn't think I was going to like this paddle, but I do. Reason that I say that is if you're first getting into pickleball, this is a really great paddle, because if you're especially coming over from like tennis, you're used to having a bigger swing, because this paddle doesn't have as much pop off the face, it's a lot easier to keep the ball in, which I think if you're trying to progress up is one of the biggest things that you're trying to look for. But it also had a lot of shape on the ball. You get a lot of curve on it, a lot of dip, lots of shots just kind of just making it over the net and curling down. One thing I did note is that with the swing that I've been using on the other two paddles, I couldn't really get it past the mid-court. It was hard to get it into the back of the court with the swing that I've been using, so I just have to adjust to having a larger swing. But if you're someone that does have a larger swing and you're looking for a paddle that has a great sweet spot but kind of offsets your huge swing and keeps the ball in, I'd say this is a really, really good option. All right, so we're on to the Vapor Jelly Bean now. This will be an interesting one to see how it hits compared to the Hurache-X Jelly Bean and to the Vapor All-Court, which I really like. So let's get going.
I liked it. You could tell it's more controlled and power, but that's a good thing, because with my control, I would be trying to pick like back right corner, back left corner, and it's so accurate because of the control. So it would just dip right into that corner. Yeah, you're not getting the most power on it compared to the power paddles, obviously, but I liked it because it was so accurate. When I was trying to hit the sidelines, it would rarely go out, and it was smooth. The swing was smooth, and the sweet spot was good. And yeah, I liked it.
So Vapor Jelly Bean. Again, another very interesting paddle. I like it. Again, I wouldn't say I would be choosing this personally over the All-Court and the power variations, but if you're looking for an entry-level paddle that's got a lot of forgiveness, a lot of shape on the face, a lot of dip on the ball, really great option. Again, same kind of thing. The power feels a little bit muted, but I don't see that necessarily as a bad thing for the right player. But if you're looking for power-oriented paddle, this is not going to be the one, but still really, really great overall. Okay, finally, we're going to be doing the Pegasus Jelly Bean. So this will be a very, again, interesting one to see how this feels compared to the other two Jelly Beans, but also compared to the other two Pegasuses, which I really like. So let's go give it a try.
Honestly, I liked it. I thought for a controlled paddle, I got a lot of power on it, which is good. So if you're looking for someone that wants power and that top spin control, looking for accuracy, I think this is the paddle for you. I mean, yeah, a lot of my balls would die kind of before the back of the court because it's more of a controlled paddle, but the accuracy was there. And honestly, when you're starting to play and you're looking for that nice depth of a drive, it's harder for the opponent. It doesn't have to be in the back of the court, which I find this paddle helped a lot. Getting that nice depth kind of in the middle of the court, which can probably create a pop-up from your opponent. So yeah, I liked it.
All right, so Pegasus Jelly Bean. Again, out of the Jelly Bean lineup, I would say the Pegasus is my favorite. If you're really looking for a control paddle, like say you're coming from the Selkirk Luxe, this is probably going to be the closest that you're going to get to that. Huge sweet spot. Felt the nicest off the face. Because it's a wide body, it plays more into that control style, whereas Hybrid and Elongated always seem like more power-oriented to me, even if it is the Jelly Bean series. But yeah, overall, if you're like a first-time player, you want a great paddle that's going to give you a huge sweet spot, a lot of forgiveness, I would say the Pegasus Jelly Bean is the one to choose. Really, really, really impressed. All right, so now we're going to do some volleys with each of the paddles. So we're going to start off with the Power series again. I'm going to do the Hurache-X Power first. Let's see how this goes. All right, so the Hurache-X Power at the kitchen. Definitely feel the power face there. Definitely pops off a lot more, a lot quicker off the face. Still a very nice paddle. I think this one's going to have a little bit more adjustment at the kitchen. I think your sweet spot here for the power is definitely going to be at the baseline. Doesn't mean can't be good at the kitchen, but I think it's going to take a little bit more to hone in on getting this one to feel quite right. Thoughts on the Hurache-X Power at the kitchen?
I liked it at the kitchen. You know, the volleys were great, and I got good. The balls were coming quick at first, but then I got used to it, and I found I liked shifting the body and hitting the two-hand back, and I got a lot of kind of dip and speed into the back corner of the court. And when I would switch to the forehand, a couple of them are overheads, but you really get that nice feel in the middle, and it makes a nice pop sound, which is great, and it just comes off real hot in the corner. It's going to give you a tough shot for the opponent coming back.
All right, so now we're going to give the Vapor Power a try at the kitchen, doing some volleys. I have high hopes for this one, so let's go and see how it goes. So Vapor Power at the net felt better than the Hurache-X Power. Just had a bigger sweet spot, a little bit easier to control. Something that we noticed on this one is that it had a little bit less power at the baseline, which I think translates very well to being at the kitchen. A little bit more control, but the power is still there if you really need to slam it away and finish the point.
Vapor Power, I love that. That was great. I had great power on those volleys in the far corner. Found the backhand was great, just getting that smooth swing. You get in the sweet spot, and it was so crisp right in the middle, and you get a lot of power. It's going to be so hard for your opponents to get those balls back, especially in those quick hands battles and those speed ups off the ground. So if you're looking for a power paddle, this was felt really nice at the kitchen. So highly recommend it.
All right, so now we've got the Pegasus Power. This one should be very good at the kitchen because you've got that massive sweet spot. Let's give it a try. All right, Pegasus Power, as expected, was my favorite at the kitchen. Huge sweet spot. The two-hand backhands was the only thing I was having a little bit of a tough time adjusting to because I'm coming from the Hurache with that long 6-inch handle. This has the 5.75-inch handle. But overall, like you can see from the ball grit, it's all right in the dead center there. Everything felt super controlled, ton of power. Like there was volleys there that I've never hit with that much accuracy and power. Out of the three at the kitchen, definitely the Pegasus is my favorite.
I like the Pegasus Power at the kitchen. It was good. He had the wide body face, so it helped even when the ball's coming quick. He got that extra chance. Even if it hits one on the side, you get, you know, it's not the sweet spot. But you still have a chance at the point, right? And then when it does hit that sweet spot, you get tons of power in the back corner, and it's going to be really hard for your opponents to get it back. I thought it was smooth, controlled too, and I don't know. I liked them all the best, but if I were to say, I would say at the kitchen, I would say the Pegasus Power was my favorite out of the three.
All right, now we're shifting over to the All-Court series. So we're going to do the Hurache-X All-Court at the net. Actually felt a lot more natural than the Power Hurache-X. Very interesting. The core construction on this is very neat because it's got power when you need it, but it's got a lot of control. It really goes into that all-court play style. Really, really liked it. Very impressed. Really, really confidence-inspiring paddle. Good spin, good control, good dwell time on the face. Highly recommend at the kitchen.
I liked it. It was the perfect balance, power and control. You know, a lot of my balls weren't going long, I found, because it had that control aspect. And when I was aiming in those corners, I found that sweet spot, and it would pretty much just dip right into the corner. Even though I felt on some of those I wasn't using much top spin, but I found that like when you hit the sweet spot in the paddle, just because it has that balance of control and power, it was finding good spots in the court. So overall, I liked it, and I would highly recommend someone that likes a little balance between power and control.
All right, now to the Vapor All-Court at the kitchen. Very similar to the Hurache-X All-Court. Lots of control, lots of power, kind of the perfect middle ground of the two. The Vapor had a little bit less power at the kitchen, which kind of is in line with what we saw at the baseline, but still really good. Lots of good spin, good shape on the ball, good placement. Again, highly recommend. Really great paddle.
I loved the Vapor All-Court at the kitchen. It had that perfect balance again between the power and the control. And honestly, I would say that I probably did like it a little bit better than the Hurache-X All-Court, because it just, I found when I was using that nice forehand and backhand top spin motion, I was getting good balance, like good control, just getting those deep side balls. And then I tried a couple one hand, a couple slices. It was perfect. It was control, power, both on the sidelines, and you see it all hitting the sweet spot, and it felt really good.
All right, so for the final one in the All-Court series, we got the Pegasus again, the wide body. This paddle's incredible at the kitchen. I think every single shot that I hit went exactly where I wanted it to. The power on the All-Court Pegasus somehow felt better than the Pegasus Power, like more power, more finishing. It still has really good dwell time off the face, but it also has like this pop to it that's not like an uncontrollable pop. It's a really nice pop. Great spin. I would say at the kitchen, Pegasus All-Court is actually my favorite out of the All-Court and Power thus far. Very, very, very impressed.
Well, I think Riley took the words out of my mouth. That was incredible. I mean, like, the power and the control on that was insane. Sometimes I think I'd be popping it up, the ball, and it would literally go right over the net, right into the nice like kitchen area, right at the opponent's feet. And it was overall a great paddle.
All right, so now we're going to try out the Jelly Bean series at the kitchen. So this is the Control series. We're going to start off with the Hurache-X. Very similar to the All-Court. Obviously, this being the control-oriented paddle, has a lot more dwell time, sits into the face a little bit more, can really put where you want it to be. But also, there's a good amount of power with this paddle. I actually didn't feel the deficiency in the power on the Jelly Bean at the kitchen like I did at the baseline, which I would say is actually a perfect compromise. But yeah, really, really great paddle overall.
I liked it a lot. I mean, it was great at the kitchen. I thought, like Riley said, at the baseline when I was using this one, I thought the power was lacking a little bit because obviously it's more of a control paddle. But I thought at the kitchen it felt great. I was 14 for 14 there, getting the balls deep, controlled, and a lot of power on it. I found that once you hit in that sweet spot, it's gonna do the work for you. So I thought that, you know, it was great when the balls were coming. I was finding the corners, and overall, I would highly recommend this paddle.
So now up, we've got the Vapor Jelly Bean. Has a lot of control, again, like basically anything in the Jelly Bean series because it is the control-oriented style. But the amount of power that you could get off of this is pretty amazing for it being controlled. Like, it has the high, like that nice middle ground of being very controlled when you want it to be, but also power. Like, if you need to finish a shot, you're not going to feel like you're lacking anything.
I liked it. You know, the hybrid face. I liked that you got a lot of room with it. And honestly, the control was great, but again, like I keep saying this, the power. You feel like you're not going to get that much power because it's a controlled oriented paddle, but you do. And sometimes I think I'm going to leave my balls short, but they find the back of the court, they find the back lines. So overall, I did like it.
Now on to the Pegasus Jelly Bean. Really, really nice paddle as well. I would say that out of the Jelly Bean series, I probably like the Vapor a little bit better. The Jelly Bean Pegasus felt really nice, but compared to the Pegasus All-Court, I like the Pegasus All-Court a little bit better. But that being said, really great control, really good power still. Yeah. Great paddle overall. If you're just like getting into pickleball and you want something that's super forgiving but has a good amount of power, I'd say this is a really great option to go with.
I like the Pegasus Jelly Bean a lot. You know, it felt good being at the kitchen. You got the wide body face, so it really helped out and getting those balls in the far corners. My favorite out of the Jelly Bean series is probably the Hurache-X because I love that shape of the paddle. But overall, all three of them were great. And like Riley said, if you're just getting into pickleball, I would highly recommend this paddle because it's got that wide body face and really it has all the tools you need.
All right, yeah, so going back to the Vapor Power for me, I definitely like this one best at the kitchen. Just seems to suit my play style. You get that kind of the nice long reach that you get with the Elongated, the Hurache-X, and then you kind of get that wider sweet spot that you get with the Pegasus. What do you think of the Pegasus Power?
I liked it. The smaller handle kind of throws me off the two-hand backhand dinks, but it was good power, good topspin. But I would say overall, I like the Hurache-X the best at the kitchen, then the Vapor, then the Pegasus. But all three are great. I just prefer the longer handle and the elongated face.
Nice. Pegasus All-Court for me, again, felt very nice. Good sweet spot. I tended to still like the Hurache-X and the Vapor a little bit more. I think just because I'm used to having a little bit more reach on that paddle. But that being said, it's still a great paddle overall. The sweet spot's massive. There was one shot that Joey had that was a little bit high, and I kind of just gave it a quick flick. The amount of speed that came off that ball was quite impressive. So even though you're all-court, there is finishing power there. It's not like you're losing anything out by not going with the Power series, but I would actually say I like the Power Pegasus better than the All-Court Pegasus.
How'd you like the wide body dinks?
I like it. I think because mine's a backhand slice, I'm not necessarily utilizing that much of the width because most of those slices should really be in the middle anyways.
That's true.
So I didn't find it played too much to my advantage, but I could definitely see for the right player this being a great paddle.
Yep. Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah, I use this twice now. I love it. The Hurache-X All-Court and the Power. I think this is my favorite paddle at the net. I just find like the longer handle again, just, like in the two-hand, I just get so much control. Top spin, power, side spin, and just I really like the face too. It really suits my game.
Nice. All right, so still out of the Jelly Bean series, the Hurache-X is my favorite. Just so much control on your dinks, slices, speed ups, top spin, resets, all really good. What do you think of the Pegasus Jelly Bean?
I liked it a lot. I actually thought that it was going to be probably my third favorite out of the Jelly Bean series, but I'm going to give it number 2. Nice. The Hurache, Pegasus, and then the Vapor. But this was great. Like the wide body face, I finally got a lot of control with it on my top spin, my slice, and out of the air dinks. So I did like it a lot.
All right, so we have finished hitting all of the paddles, all 9 paddles. I would say this was actually a really tough one to call because even though 11Six24 sent me these paddles, no cost, they're not paying me for this review at all. This is just genuinely how I feel. If I didn't like something, I would tell you.
Yep.
I had a really tough time finding any negatives with any of these paddles. I think each of them suits a certain player. And what's really unique to me is that you could start off with a Jelly Bean series and say you choose the Pegasus, the wide body. You could take that paddle from you starting in pickleball and then progressing up pretty much all the way through. If you went to being a pro, you could go Pegasus Jelly Bean, Pegasus All-Court, Pegasus Power. And because you're staying with the same paddle shape, I think you would allow your growth to accelerate a lot quicker because you're not resetting the shape. but each one of those has their individual characteristics. What would you say was your favorite on the drives?
The drives, I would actually say the Vapor Power.
Vapor Power.
Yeah, for sure. I just found like I got so much, like, especially on my cross-court drives, I got so much depth on it. I would think the ball is going long, but it would go back. It would hit the baseline. I found out that was really smooth swing. It helped with the hybrid face, and I like that one the best. The Hurache would be a close second, but I love the Vapor Power for the drive.
Yeah, I am a little bit more actually on the Pegasus Power for the drives. There was just something about it that felt really natural, but I would say that the Vapor Power was a very close second.
Yep.
The Hurache-X Power, really good as well, but I still find that it has almost a little bit too much power that you kind of have to watch how much you're swinging.
Yep.
But all, again, really great paddles. If you're coming from a tennis background, obviously the elongated shape would probably play into your play style a little bit better. But on volleys, what do you find is the best out of all the paddles?
The volleys, I would say, was the Vapor All-Court, I would say. I was between that or the Hurache, but I would say the Vapor All-Court was great. I liked it. I just found, like, I just got so much control with it, especially the All-Court, and then you want a little bit of mixed power with it, too, so it's a great combination. I found that it was great, but again, all three are great. It's hard to decide. Like, I had to think about it for a good 30 seconds. They're both so great.
Yeah, no, I would say that for me, the all-courts felt best on the volleys. I think the power could be really good, but I think it's going to have the most adjustment. Whereas if you just want to pick up a paddle and play with it right away, I would actually say that the Vapor Jelly Bean and the Vapor All-Court were my two favorite on volleys, because you could get enough power that you could finish points, but you still had a lot of control, a lot of dwell time, good spin. It still kind of sunk into the face. But yeah, for the dinks, I had a clear winner, and it's kind of crazy to say this, but the Jelly Bean Hurache-X was my favorite, hands down. I was really hoping that it was going to be one of the Power series. It's not that they were bad, I just found that the Hurache-X Jelly Bean was the most natural in my hand. I could get kind of effortless slices without thinking about it too much. What do you think on the dinks?
Yeah, I mean, that was the biggest separation, I would say, the Hurache-X Jelly Bean for the dinks. I loved it. Like, it was great. I got so much control with it. And like I said, the power came with it too, even though it's more of a control power. But I would say, like, that was my favorite paddle today, and my favorite session on the dinks, and I loved every aspect of it.
Awesome. Well, yeah, no, so this is obviously just a quick snapshot. We're just trying these paddles out for the first time, but I wanted to get this video out so that you can go and buy these. The release is February 7th, which is today. You're going to be able to go and buy any of these paddles. I have suspicion that a bunch of them will sell out because these paddles are incredible. As I said, you can't really lose on any in this lineup. If you want to buy one, I've got a discount code, RIDE3D. I'll link it below. You can go and check out 11Six24's website. But we'll definitely be doing more in-depth reviews on each of these paddles once we've had time to play with them over a couple of weeks, a couple of months, and then we'll revisit it. But it's just kind of our first impressions. Joey, thank you so much. It's been fantastic.
Thanks for having me.
Of course.
That was fun. A lot of fun.
We'll see you guys on the next one. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments below.
See you guys.
Bye.